What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Game Over Greggy Show. I am one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
You got a lot going on here with your ensemble.
What do you mean?
You're pimping a lot of products.
You mean I'm wearing the new Oreo-gasm shirt you can get at districtlines.com/GameOverGreggy?
You are wearing that. You're also wearing a lot of grease from Portillo's. The Portillo's.
My birthday, ladies and gentlemen, is this Sunday. If you're watching the YouTube videos, it's already come and gone. I'm a year older and you didn't know. And so my dad from Chicago sent me Portillo's. It was the Italian beef package. Usually we get hot dogs. You've had them here before.
The beef package worked out.
It worked well. Legit. It was excellent, as Portillo's always is. I think that the Portillo's mail order beef is restaurant quality, whereas the hot dogs I think dip down a little bit.
What is this going to accomplish?
I am covered in gravy though from the beefs that I was making. I'm like,
shout it out.
I got the shout wipes here, so I was stirring the sauce, the gravy. I was getting kicked up. Now I got all over my new Oreo-gasm shirt that I can just go buy another one at a reasonable price at districtlines.com/GameOverGreggy, along with a slew of other shirts, including Sean Finnegan's Likes Hiking, Game Over Greggy, and the Nick Scarpino
Shadow Boxing Association. Established 1996.
Also, there's the Colin for President shirt. Another fave.
That's a staple. That's a classic.
That's one of the founders of the the Game Over Greggy District Line shop.
That's not doing anything.
It's working, maybe.
So for those of you at home that are actually listening to this, thank you awesomely for buying the podcast and supporting the show. Greg's actually taken the world's smallest shout wipe, and he's bathing his entire front body.
It's how many spots of gravy I got on me. We're not looking for a fix here. We're just looking. Sorry, Portillo. We're just looking.
Portillo is
you're not
mortified.
even hitting it. You're like missing it completely.
You're not even looking at the spots.
I got tits to look over. It's hard to see past them. What do you want?
Well, what would Linda say about this?
I don't know. We're gonna have to talk. We're gonna touch base with
Ooh, we
Linda.
should call Linda and tell her thanks. For
okay. Of course. Then the Pride of Long Island, Colin Moriarty.
Hello.
How you doing?
All right.
How'd you like your beef?
It was great. I had 2 sandwiches. I was just thinking I got something on my shirt too, so I changed to my FBI shirt, which is all faded. Quantico shirt. And I'm fat as fucking it.
You used to be skinny as fucking it.
Yeah.
It's revealing.
It is.
They don't call them tights for nothing. Here we go.
That looks
Another
good.
one.
I'm joshing you, as they say. Joshing.
Now that was your first Italian beef from Portillo's.
Yeah.
How'd that stack up?
It was great. The hot peppers reminded me a lot of New York, and I enjoyed it. I prefer the hot dogs, but
I'm excited.
this is great. I mean, this is great. It's a lot of food.
I prefer this combo. I prefer the hot dog in the beef.
No, that's not a hot dog. That's a Maxwell Street Polish sausage.
I'm down with that.
You ever hear this? Imagine the sandwich you just had, except it's the bun, or it's Italian bread. Then a Polish sausage in there. Then the beef covering that. Then your peppers, your cheese, whatever you want to.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to VidCon down in Anaheim. Mm-hmm. You're going to the
We're gonna go see the Mighty Ducks.
I hope so. Like the kids?
Nope, the hockey team.
No, I don't care about them. I don't want to see them. And then, of course, rounding out the trio of people that aren't me.
Hey,
you like that?
Good save. I like that.
That's what I wanted you to say. That's what I planned. The pure one, Tim Gettys.
Hello.
Let Tim host. What are you doing? No more hashtags?
Oh, we're hashtagging. Hashtag Let's Post.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Game Over Greggy Show. If you didn't know, every week, 4 best friends gather around this table, each bringing a random topic to discuss for your amusement. If you like that, you should like the video, subscribe to the series over on GameOverGreggy.com. It goes up one by one, topic by topic, every day, until finally on Friday, the whole show posts as one giant video. But if you don't want to wait that long for the entire show, I have great news for you. A week earlier, on Friday, the MP3 posts at GameOverGreggy.bandcamp.com. And for $1, you get early access to every topic, get to listen to it, and put it on whatever device you want, whether it be a Zune or a PSP.
Someone is listening to it on a PSP.
That makes me very happy.
That was my thing before the iPhone, before I could afford the iPhone. I was big on that PSP being my MP3 player. Had it in the car, had an adapter, had
you might as well carry a portable CD player around with you.
Hey, I was excited. I had the 52 gigabyte or memory. What do they call them? What's the little one? Megabytes.
Duo.
I had the megabytes. Yeah, the Memory Stick Pro Duo. What a terrible platform. My topic, ladies and gentlemen, is piggybacking from a conversation with Colin. Kind of. This has been talked about before, and it came up this weekend. Christine and I were driving around talking about death in religion, in God, and what happens after, if anything. And I brought up the fact of referencing a conversation with Colin when we did the Ghosts episode, which spiraled into religion and everything else. Aliens. And how if Colin said in that conversation, if aliens came to Earth, if aliens were suddenly made aware of what they were, they're out there, they're doing stuff, there's life intelligent outside of us, that religion, Colin said, would collapse. That'd be the end of it. It would prove everything wrong. But I want to know, if aliens show up tomorrow peacefully, even if they just send a signal, I don't know if you saw this. You're one of these science nerds. They're blowing the top off a mountain in Chile to put a giant telescope on that'll be able to see outside of our solar system and get actual like up close with other planets and stuff. So like that was kind of where this all came from. Like if they find something, even that way, they find another civilization with things happening on it, what does that mean for the world we live in? That's what I want to know.
I mean, I think the first question is, are they nice or are they not nice?
They are nice. If they come here, they're
So we know
totally
they're
chill.
nice?
So like Vulcans.
Well, if they come
How
here,
would you know that?
If they come here, they're totally chill. Well, I mean, they're not going Independence Day immediately. We don't know. I'm not worried about them in this situation.
It's not like Falling Skies. More like Contact,
Right.
and not like Falling Skies.
Except in the Contact, nobody believes her. And they just got to wait for the next thing.
It's more like
That's
First Contact, where the Vulcans come. Star Trek, the Vulcans come, and everyone's like,
Well, that
"That's
doesn't
cool."
count.
And then they give us technology, and then it catapults us into
Oh, is that how
space
we?
exploration.
Is that how we all started?
Yeah.
The First Contact is like what? It's like a prequel.
So Star
to everything?
Trek 7, I think it was the first movie they did with the Next Generation cast. That was like Captain Picard, which is also known as Professor Xavier, old Professor Xavier. James Cromwell was in it. Great cast. Alfred Woodard. In that movie, it was about the Borg going back to stop First Contact, which was the first time we, if I'm getting this correct, mastered the propulsion system that would propel us out into deep space. And we did a test run as a Vulcan ship was passing. And the Vulcans have a methodology of contacting planets for the first time that have achieved warp drive.
Yeah.
So they only if a civilization has progressed to the point where they've achieved warp drive, then they go, okay, it's time for first contact. So because of that one instance, the Borg went back and wanted to stop it, thus stopping us from ever stopping them in the future. Because
Gotcha.
we would never have achieved all the technology that went into developing that from the Vulcans.
So many paradoxes.
I love how many we's and us's were in what you just said.
The humans.
I know, but it just
I still think we are actually in Star Trek.
good.
Like it hasn't happened yet. 50 years from now, we will achieve warp drive, and the
We
Vulcans
can't even
will
get to
come.
Mars.
I actually,
we're getting to Mars. We got to Mars.
We're
We
going
got to
suicide mission.
Yeah, we'll see if they make it.
I agree with you in the sense that we're not as far away as you think from a lot of amazing technological advancements in space travel.
Let me ask you:
Yeah.
if we decided to do away with all the money we spent on the defense budget and just put that towards space travel, how far do you think we'd go in the next 10 years?
An amazing amount of money. I mean, I always think about it in terms of this. When you think about Mercury and then especially Apollo and Gemini, all these like early NASA missions, we spent an enormous amount of money on them, and we went to the moon, right? Like,
Right.
If we just kept doing that, like kept spending money and we cared, and we had a whole generation of people that cared, like our parents
We'd be
cared,
living on the moon right now.
We would be like,
I'd be buying a condo on the moon.
it would be an amazing thing. Like we went to the moon with the processing power, like the computing processing power of a fucking calculator. You know what I mean? Like that's how smart we were, and how smart our engineers were, and how cool everything was. Now we have amazing computers and technology and all this kind of stuff. The internet, like all these things that didn't exist before, are allowing different kinds of communication. We can't even go to the Mars, but it's not that we can't go to Mars; that we don't have money to go to Mars. Like we only spend like what $17 billion a year on NASA. It's nothing.
Only.
That's nothing.
I know.
You know, like
I know.
we pay the Russians to bring our astronauts up to the space. We don't even have the space shuttle anymore. So
That's
like,
sad.
you know, and we're building a replacement for it. But
So Craig, I guess to answer your question, that's what I would be most excited about, right? If we were like, okay, once we get over the mass hysteria and the complete and total breakdown of society as we know it, I would look forward to that knowledge share.
But you're
right?
skipping the point of what I'm saying. I want to know. I don't give a shit what you think.
Oh,
I want to know
that's
what you think is going to happen.
What I'm saying is going to happen. I think there would be pandemonium,
Yeah.
mass hysteria, basically the end of Ghostbusters.
Okay.
Right.
Dogs and cats living together.
Dogs and cats living together. And then eventually, when they didn't just destroy all of our... I mean, because you know the old theory that like anytime a more advanced civilization comes to a less advanced civilization, they tend to just decimate them.
Yeah.
the Europeans did that. You
Yeah.
know, everywhere.
So if they didn't do that, I think everyone would probably calm down, and then I think it would catapult us into an unprecedented era in human existence.
So do you think? I mean, when
Like Ender's
when they
Game
pop
style.
off, do you think it's just riots in every major city? Does anybody give them a chance? What's happening?
I think it's like mass. I think it would be insane. I think it would be like mass suicides. I think it would be like. I mean, I don't think as a civilization were you anywhere close to. You know, what is the old saying that a human is smart? humans. I think it was from Men in Black, where he's like, one human
What's
is smart.
the old saying from Men in Black?
Like, I always miss
The classic Tommy
I
Lee
mix-
Jones film.
I mix my classic reading with basically every movie that I've ever seen since. But yeah, he has that great line in that movie where he says, he's like, Will Smith says, why not just tell everyone? And he goes, he's like, people are smart. He goes, no, a person's smart. People are stupid together. And it's true, because people get together in mass hysteria and no one knows information. We all want information. So we then start just sort of picking at each other and buying into the fear, right? And so I think that would definitely happen. No doubt. What are you Are you looking it up now? Looking up Mars? What are you doing on your phone?
I'm prepping to call Linda.
Are you going to call Linda?
Yeah.
Don't
But
call Linda. Leave her alone.
I want to say
for
hi.
God's
Thanks.
sake.
Tim, what do you got for me? What would happen?
I was just wondering if, well, to answer your question, I think that things would just get real bad. We'd be
Right.
scared and we'd try to fight them instantly. And
We'd
I
fight, you think?
Yeah,
That's the first
I
step?
think that
That's what happened in
public-
Independence Day.
Yeah.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, it is. We instigated that fight.
In Independence Day, we go up with the lights. And we're like, what's up?
Yeah,
Boom,
because
boom,
but that's what I'm
boom,
saying. Like, you
boom,
don't.
boom.
You're like confronting them. Like that's not a communication. That doesn't make any. What they did didn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like
They're attacking us with light.
like that's what I'm
In
saying. Like,
Independence Day,
we were scared of them, and then we
we made
obviously-
a mind link with them when we learned they were there to destroy us. They were locusts. Well, they weren't there to be nice people.
It was
no matter
obvious that they weren't there in a nice way, since they had massive ships that were
Yeah,
like
that's
over
scary.
every city.
Looming over
You're supposed to
our
just walk
major
up to
cities.
them,
Major
say the universal
metropolitan areas.
greeting.
What's the universal greeting?
Ba weep kwa weep nini bong.
What's that from?
Transformers.
I hate
It
you.
is the universal
I just
greeting.
hate you. How is it? The
Don't go all wiki on me right now. Okay.
No.
Are you ladies man 69? Whatever he tells me.
I bought it off of eBay.
I got it on eBay. That's still the best line in any of the Transformers movies.
So what do you think happens?
I think it'd just get really bad. I think that publicly, the media would be like, oh, try to keep it cool and like, oh, these guys are cool. But then like the governments would just be like, fuck these guys. And they'd start fights. And then the aliens would be upset and they'd attack.
Yeah.
See, what I want to know is, what if the aliens aren't crazy looking and aren't anything? They look like humans, totally seem like humans. I feel
See,
like
now
that's really interesting.
If that happens, that I think flies in the face of Colin's theory of religion breaking down over it. Because, like, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, your thought here is that the Bible says like God created us in His image. So when aliens show up that are totally not in our image, that would be like for most people like I guess this was wrong. And then the way I was describing it to Christine, right, would be that there'd be this breakdown of people who'd been on the fence or have like doubts or whatever, or like they don't know if this religion's right or whatever. This would happen, and they would be like, well, this is clearly not what it is. And the religious right would snap so far back that it would look like you were a hillbilly or uninformed to be denying this fact right in front of you.
See, I disagree. I disagree wholeheartedly, because I feel like the power of religion is that they can just shift. They can just pivot, right? So if that happened, suddenly, you have religions like the fringe religions, like I guess like Scientology, right? Which would just, we discovered another book that talks about this, right? And then,
But that's the fringe religion.
Yeah, but after like 5 generations, right? Like when we've been living with these people for so, or these aliens for so long that look like us, then all of a sudden it just becomes a part of the religion. Because I think at the core, a lot of people believe in religion not because they don't take the word. It's not the word that they take. It's just the spirit and the meaning behind it. And so if we can somehow incorporate that sort of acceptance of this new people into it, I think religion will continue to flourish.
Well, see, I think it would evolve, maybe change into something else. I'm sure these things coming here have their own ideology, something else they've been raised with.
Unless they look exactly like. If they looked
If they
exactly,
look exactly like us, that's going to be the
What would
mind
you do?
fuck
So,
of
yeah.
everyone being like, holy
here's my
shit.
thing. I would accept them immediately if they got off and the first thing they said was, "We're back." And they just looked at Tim. What? You know what I mean? Like if they had a sense of humor about it, and they were just like, "I'm just fucking with you guys. We look like each other. Let's hang out. Let's get
See,
started."
that's what I want to know. I was thinking about this. What if we found aliens and
Yeah.
they were just humans? I feel like
Kryptonians.
we wouldn't accept that. We'd be like, no, you guys are different. There's something different about
I
you.
would-
And then we'd dissect them and
Oh,
try to
yeah.
figure out,
Oh, yeah.
do you have superpowers? Do you have anything? And I feel like forever we'd just be like talking to them, trying to figure out what's different about them.
I mean, how fundamentally disappointing is it going to be if a humanoid alien shows up, looks like us, and doesn't have superpowers? Like,
gonna be
we are
disappointing.
setting that poor alien up for just a ton of failure. We're just setting him up. He's going to land. We're going to be like, "There's a fire over there."
Yeah,
And
but what
he's
if,
like, what the hell? What do you want me to
what
do
if
about
there is
that
a
fire?
Want some
difference?
of
It's gonna
this
burn me. I'm not gonna go
water?
We're splashing it. We're doing
Yeah.
old tropes like throwing everything.
But like, what if they look like us? Everything seems the same, and then we just find one really random difference. That
No
doesn't
belly
mean
button
anything.
or something.
No belly button, or they don't poop.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
How would it be if you look like me but you don't poop?
My luck, it would be they have just way bigger penises than all of us, just enormous ones.
Yeah.
What if they got off what if they get off though and they have
What if they
the
get off?
Bible? Same book. God has spoken to them and like all this
Oh,
stuff.
man.
And
See, that would be. Oh, I like that. Just
Yeah,
because
that'd
that's
be
crazy.
That'd be crazy.
So I think we're ignoring a few.
Or they get off and they're Scientologists.
We're ignoring a few interesting things, I think. First of all, a lot of people have talked about this in the past. Like, really smart people have theorized about this. Carl Sagan, who we've talked about many times on the show, is one of those people. A lot of people, and I actually agree with this particular premise, think that if the aliens came here or contacted us, it is not for friendly reasons. There's no reason for them to do that. But other people argue that there's no reason for them to be hostile. But I think that the Independence Day thing of like coming, or even Signs thing of coming to the planet because there's something there you want, I think is actually somewhat reasonable. But because of the ever expanding nature of the universe and how big it is, and the fact that it is like no one's probably ever going to find us.
Well, I mean, like, play that in reverse, right? Like we are the dominant species. We go discover some other planet where there is life. Of course, what's the next thing we're going to do?
Exploit
a resource. Let's exploit it, right?
It's just I think that there's absolutely life out there. I think there's absolutely intelligent life out there. I think that's just mathematically it's impossible for there not to be. I think there's quite a bit of it. And we've talked about that. All the math and the formulas and stuff.
The string theory.
Yeah, the string theory.
Fact.
But yeah. I think so. If we got contacted by aliens, I don't think the premise could be friendly. I think at the most it would be neutral, because they don't necessarily know us or understand us unless they've been it's like they've been studying us for a while. There's just no reason for them to do any of this shit unless they're just curious, right? Like so, and that's possible.
They're scientists.
Well, they're obviously like, well, if they've, this is the thing is like they are to get to like cross. Let's assume it's not intergalactic. Let's assume it's within our galaxy. Mm-hmm. That's like still interstellar travel is like it's impossible for us. Like we couldn't even fathom it. You need light travel to do that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Like in any reasonable amount of time. Like I've said, to reach Alpha Centauri or whatever close stars around us, it's 4 years at light speed. For us, like it takes us 9 months to go to Mars. Like that's a joke. So like for them to be able to get here in a reasonable amount of time and stuff, they have to be fucking way smart. And that's why I think like why would they be curious? Who the fuck cares? Like they're like so much smarter than us.
They would be so much smarter than us. It would be like if we discovered a small colony of like just random wild Portillos running out there. You'd be like, that's cute.
Yeah, they'd be like, what the hell is going on here? Like it reminds me a lot of Mass Effect in the sense that like in the Mass Effect lore, it's like the Protheans, right, or like the ancient race that is like really smart, and we get the mass relays from them and stuff like that, and figure out how to travel through space. But they know we're there when they leave us alone, and they watch our evolution, right? Like they don't want to interfere. And that's possible too. I just think, in terms of like the ramifications, good or bad, like everything's like that is the biggest. The day that they go like that, the nations of the world get on TV or whatever, and the UN or whatever, and they're like, we have contacted aliens, like they're here, or like we know where they are, or they've communicated with us. It's the biggest event ever that's ever happened on this planet
history,
ever
in history.
Like since the rise of life on this planet, like that changes everything. Everything.
Yeah.
And I hope that happens. Like, I even if it was fucking cataclysmic, I want to see it.
When I think it would be like, right. I never thought much about this as much as I read comic books and love that lore. Right. The fact that if Superman showed up tomorrow, and this is the other thing too, is like we're so familiar with Superman and everything, right? We don't even think it's weird that he's this alien, strange visitor from another planet, right? But in Smallville, season 11, the comic book, they deal with other aliens and magic, and all this stuff starts happening in their universe. So, Clark has to make the choice that, people are down on aliens and all this stuff, so he has to come out and say he's an alien publicly, right? And that was like the first time I ever really thought about how monumental it would be for somebody to do that, let alone these people come from the sky and do all that stuff. I think it would be, you're talking about, I think it would totally be cataclysmic, right? Because so many people would flip out and think that it's the end of the world. They'd go and raid everything and riot everywhere, and then what do you do? Yeah.
That reminds me of recently there was a Reddit thread, and there was some podcast that I was listening to that talked about it. I don't remember which one it was.
GameOverGreggy show.
You can get it on GameOverGreggy.bandcamp.com every Friday for $1. It comes up on YouTube the rest of the week.
Excellent.
It was talking about aliens come, cataclysm, everyone like kills themselves or gets killed, all this crazy shit. Then the aliens are just left with Earth. What's the weirdest thing they find? Like, what's the weirdest thing to them? And the number one answer was zoos. Like, people kept saying dildos and all this stuff, but they wouldn't know what the hell that is. But like zoos, how funny is zoos? Because why are some animals caged and other animals aren't? It's like, that's weird.
Yeah, it would be I think it would be a look into our own culture and our own society that we think we hold these animals and just look at them.
So you think they'd be more freaked out? You think they'd be more weirded out by zoos, or just the sheer amount of time human beings dedicate to internet porn? Like, they would look at the internet and go, I don't understand how every single letter I type in brings up something disgusting in the autofill.
So
I like the idea that they come and they kill all of us and then they just go on the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
See
I
what's
love that
up.
idea that they go and they're looking. Oh, I wonder what their search
Well,
history
we've conquered
was.
this planet. Let's see what this
Well,
internet
because,
was
they
all
would
about.
eventually, like, tie into our computers to some degree, and they'd be like, oh, and then they would run the analytics because these are incredibly smart aliens. And they would be like, wow, a staggering amount of people searched for fetish porn. Just an insane amount of people.
See, I wonder what the first porn aliens would search for would be. Like, when they're interested, they want to see this new human porn. Like, what do they type into the search?
They'd probably just type sex, right? Or like
Have
whatever
they
the
mind
coitus.
melded with us? They know how to speak our language and what they're looking for.
I'm assuming at
and-
this point that they can learn English if they've traveled
Sure,
all
sure,
like
sure,
what
sure,
is it,
sure.
4 light years at least.
Yeah, I mean, it could be thousands of light years. I mean,
At that time, they probably were like, let's pick up a dictionary.
Anybody got the Rosetta Stone?
what I'm
English?
most curious about. I mean, think about it this way. This is what I'm always most curious about. Contact. You know, when Carl Sagan told that story in the '80s, and it was a fascinating thing because his whole theory was, you know, the first signal we ever transmitted that was strong enough was from the Munich Olympics, and so it was Hitler, 1936, going into space. And then it was reached by, you know, or received by a culture on another planet, and then sent back to us like encrypted with math, right? And what I'm always fascinated about is because of the nature of space travel and light speed and stuff like that, and like that radio waves, for instance, travel at the speed of light, is some species out there 40 light years away might actually know we're here, and there's just no way they can tell us that they know, or like until
that would be trippy, right?
like, and I kind of feel like, you know, as we go on every day, that becomes more and more possible, as like all of the evidence of our existence is just beaming off this planet.
Do you think what do you come down on the whole Area 51, like aliens discovered all that stuff?
Oh, like lasers and jet engines and shit
Like
that?
so
That's what a lot of people think is like all that post-war technology is from aliens.
Well, I mean that's the popular theory in my brain.
So,
but what?
where did people, you know how when we think alien, you guys all have an image in your mind of what an alien looks like.
Sigourney Weaver, yeah.
The almond eyes, the
Almond eyes,
giant,
green dude.
gray. Okay.
Where the fuck's that come from?
A lot of people have seen them.
Yeah, I think
Or
that was a
claimed to
common
have
description, like a fire in the sky, like aliens.
Right.
But also, like, that's what scientists think, that, like, you know, like it's happening to us. Like, our heads are becoming bigger. You know, we're becoming taller and more slender.
Greener.
It's because, like, it's just because, like, they, you know, like you would think, like an alien that's really smart doesn't need physical power. They'll make robots or can use their minds or telekinesis or like whatever, you know, like that's the idea.
Oh,
it's like the smarter you become, so their eyes need to be like their auto-sensory kind of things need to be big like their eyes. They don't need muscles.
I would still work.
You know,
out.
like-
I love that Colin just broke this down, my bullshit ass comment, as like a real legit scientific.
But it is. I mean, that's why people think, like, you know. I mean, that's the way. I mean, Falling Skies is a silly show, but what I like about them is that they had like the real aliens are like little fucking pieces of shit. You know, like they're like they have like these like bug like creatures that are like they think are the aliens. They don't even know that they have like other types of alien, like the real aliens,
right?
That like aren't even have nothing to do with what's going on because they don't need to. You know, like it's their whole thing is like just go do.
Makes sense to me.
For us.
Makes sense. I would still do dips though.
Wait, something you
End
said
of
a
the
second ago that I did not know
dip
about.
it.
We sent off a message and got
Dip it.
math back?
No,
that was Contact.
In Contact. Carl
We
Sagan.
sent
Oh, it's a movie.
Yeah.
We sent in a book, and we sent off the signal. And so
like-
when they got it though in space, they beamed it back with an encryption that
Gotcha.
we would then have to decode.
Okay, I thought I missed that in real life, and I was like, what?
Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
Flip the
No,
table.
that would be insane. I mean,
It
that
was
would be
on Reddit yesterday. You missed it. That's the craziest part though, because that you flip that switch, it would be terrifying. If we just got a signal, which I assume is why a lot of the stuff, if we have had contact, has been covered up. Because how terrifying is it to think that people can reach us, but we can't reach them? Like that they know we're here, that they're aware of us, and they're coming.
What would you send out,
Yeah,
Nick? If aliens sent you something, and you're like, oh shit, we just got this in the mail. What do we send them back? What would you send them back?
Internet porn.
A riddle?
A riddle.
Yeah. Well, think about it. Like they're just as like scared of us as we are. Not scared, but like, we have no idea what the hell they're doing.
Like a Batman riddle, where he's got to solve the Riddler's riddle.
Yeah.
Riddle me this, alien.
There's a
What's tall? It has 2 eyes. I don't know. Humans. What's the answer to that one? No one cares.
It's interesting. It's interesting to think about it in terms like what Tim was saying. Like if aliens, you know, they're like just getting radio transmissions. You're not intentionally sending them anything. They're just receiving it all because it's just being sent out into space.
nothing but Kesha.
And like so they get Kesha, or they like get like all of the family, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, like we don't know what this is, but they're like, all right, well, we know where they are. Let's go. You know, but they only travel at 1 light year a year. Like they travel or maybe just right sublight. Because physically you're not supposed to be able to travel at light speed. It's not supposed to be possible, right? So like let's say that's actually true, and they have to travel at sublight speed, and so it takes them 40 years to get here, but they're coming.
Right.
They're just en route.
And they're gonna be really hungry when they get here.
And they're en route, and they're just doing.
They're gonna be upset. There's no more All in the Family.
Maybe they're cryo frozen or something like that.
Yeah.
There's an interesting. I guess what I'm saying is it reminds me of Armageddon or Deep Impact, which are silly movies, but the whole premise was like you have 18 months, or like 12 months,
right?
Whatever, like this asteroid's going to hit the Earth. What are you going to do about it? And it's the same thing. Like, what if we knew? Like, what if they beamed us eventually, and we're like, we're coming. And like we don't know if it's good or bad.
Just we're coming.
Or like we somehow understand. Like something happens where we know like we have 10 years.
It took them 6 years with the Rosetta Stone.
We don't even know if we have to protect ourselves.
That'd be terrifying.
But like maybe we have to. I think it's fascinating, and it's I don't know. I like that kind of theoretical argument because it's very interesting. There's just, to be honest with you, there's nothing we can do. If you can travel from, that's what I'm saying. If you can travel from another planet to here, don't even bother because like they will fucking murder you.
They're gonna kill you, or you're gonna wind up on a dissection table. They're gonna kill you. If they know you're coming, their military forces are gonna mount and they're just gonna kidnap you, and you're gonna be in some random alien Area 51 getting sliced from soup to nuts.
Yeah, soup to nuts.
Soup to, that's an old saying.
I don't know the soup part. Sorry.
Soup to nuts is isn't it like an old early 20th century?
Yeah.
Like
your hole is your soup?
No, it's like I think there's like a diners called soup to nuts and stuff. It's just an old saying. I don't know exactly.
I don't know what it really means.
Yeah.
Stem to stern is what I was heard.
But yeah, I mean,
I apologize.
And to them,
Apologies,
like our nuclear weapons and our fighter jets and stuff are probably gonna be so quaint. They'll be like, we don't use nuclear weapons. We don't need them. We use telekinesis or like something like just lasers, things you can't see. We use X-rays. Like something like totally crazy. Like it's like to me that's like totally fascinating. They might not even they probably intuitively understand nuclear power for power,
right?
And they understand that it was probably destructive. Again, it goes back to Mass Effect. I always thought that story was brilliant because they touch on all these little things. The Krogans destroyed their whole population because they used nuclear bombs. Like that's their whole story is about how they fucked everything up for themselves. And like. So there's probably species like that. Maybe we'll be one of those species.
What if they had properties that were immune to like nuclear stuff, and we had properties that are immune to their stupid telekinesis stuff, so we couldn't even fight each other?
It could be. They
don't even use the parts of the brain we're able to move with our telekinesis.
Yeah. There's a fascinating. I think it was Harry Turtledove.
They killed it with their beef.
He's an alternate history writer. He writes like really interesting books, but they're whatever. And I think it was him. There was a story about aliens that come to Earth in like 1100. And they
build the pyramids.
And they observe what's going on here, and they see us on like it's the Crusades or whatever. And they see us on horseback with broadswords and armor and stuff. And they're like, we're gonna fuck these guys up. They go back. But it takes them hundreds of years to get back and forth from where they come from to where they So they travel back to their planet to let their people know like what's going on. And this is
these guys only got swords and horses.
Yeah, but they're used to slow evolution. They don't understand like how quickly we're evolving on the planet. They come back in the 1900s. And
everybody bring your biggest rock. We got them.
And so we have like nuclear. But I think the story is that they come back during World War II. And like
that's cool.
And like the Nazis and the Russians and the Americans and everyone just like actually have to join forces to fight the aliens.
That'd be cool.
But like the aliens didn't expect that we were going to be able to like fight them more effectively.
That would suck.
And I always thought that was a fascinating.
That's really
too.
funny.
Someone got fired. One of the aliens got fired that day. Like, dude.
You said they just got horses.
Yeah, that's messed up. Yeah. Side note, vastly prefer the solution to the problem in Armageddon as opposed to Deep Impact.
Specifically because Bruce Willis is going to the
100%.
asteroid.
100%.
But the waters receded.
That was really good.
No, it wasn't.
That was really
That's a terrible Morgan Freeman.
That was the best. That was
the waters receded.
Why is he cocking his neck like a chicken? Why is your face so red?
Hey, you know what? When you find an expert mimic, you don't ask why he does what he does when he has his crack.
If I close my eyes,
the waters receded.
It's like we're like in Shawshank Redemption right now.
I remember making my dad to bring me this Deep. If you guys remember correctly, Deep Impact and Armageddon came out like a month apart.
They were right there.
And it was in 1998. I was in 8th grade, and I remember making my dad take me to both of them. And I remember during Deep Impact, I remember my dad was just I think looked at me at one point and was like,
Just he opens a book.
Because it was the same movie.
Yeah,
right?
they are the
Except
same
one
movie.
had a really, really good way of dealing with the giant thing that was going to hit our planet, and the other one just let it hit the planet.
Deep Impact was more morbid, which I liked. I liked how it was like they accidentally found it by like the kid found the asteroid in an astronomy club, and and the asteroid does hit.
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
I like that. Yeah, I like that kind of stuff. I thought it
Taya
was,
Leone goes out there with her dad, just takes it.
Suddenly, Mexico becomes like a superpower because we can't use our entire like lower half of our United States. We have to all go to Mexico, and they're like, "Well, we'll take you, but you have to erase all the national debt or like any debt we owe you." It's messed up.
But the one receipt.
This is good. It's not bad.
Andy Dufresne was my best friend. Well, the hat's gone now. All right, that was good.